Hey everyone, Colby coming to you from Muffler Tech and StolenCats.com, and today's video is going to be the latest vehicle that we're seeing in pretty high numbers for stolen catalytic converters, and that is going to be the Lexus RX400H. Now, the RX400H obviously is a hybrid, and maybe not quite as obvious, is certified as a partial zero emissions vehicle. What that means in California is that when a catalytic converter gets stolen, there's not going to be any parts on the list that are legal for aftermarket style replacement, which keeps the cost down. So unfortunately, in order to be legal and make it through its next emissions test, this vehicle is going to need an OEM catalytic converter replacement to be able to be registered in the state of California. Just to reaffirm what I was talking about there, I want to show you the emissions label that's under the hood on an RX400H. And what I'm looking at here is the emissions label. You can tell because it's got the catalyst here. And what we're after is going to be the test group here, which is right under here. And if we go to the allowable aftermarket parts list for these vehicles, you will see we cannot match that up to any applicable aftermarket parts. All right, let's walk underneath on RX400H and show you what it is they're stealing. So the exhaust system is pretty basic on these cars. You've got a rear resonator here, runs back as we go under the rear axle area. We get into the main muffler here, and then the exhaust pipe runs forward. And here we go with our missing parts. So this is gonna be the rear catalytic converter, the one that's extremely easy to access. As you can see, it's just underneath vehicle in between the two wheels, and this is the one where they steal it. So what they're doing is you can tell by the way it's been cut. This is a Sawzall. You can tell by the rough edge right here. This is not a pipe cutter like what we were seeing in the early years of catalytic converter theft. Same thing here. You can tell it was a Sawzall that cut through this, and you know, really less than a minute or so it takes these guys, especially with a car like an SUV such as this. No jack to get underneath it. Now, these cars do have other catalytic converters. There's one right here for the rear bank. That one right there, that is the catalytic converter that attaches the exhaust manifold. And then as we follow the Y pipe forward, it's gonna be a little harder to see this one, but just behind the radiator, there's another cat right here. Now, it's not that these aren't worth money, it's that for obviously, as I'm showing you how difficult they are to get to them, you really cannot get a Sawzall in there to take them out. Potentially could get a saw in here and cut the backside, but you're never gonna get one up in there on the front side. And in order to get it out of there, you'd be unbolting all kinds of stuff to take either one of those. So with the plethora of RX400Hs that we have seen in the shop with stolen parts, it is almost always, well, it's always been the rear one. We've never seen the front ones taken up to this point. So this is what the piece looks like when you get it from Lexus, and unfortunately you can't get just the catalytic converter. You have to order the entire assembly to get it, because Lexus doesn't have another flange that's behind the cat here to disconnect and just buy this part right here. You have to buy the entire assembly. So unfortunately, when this replacement happens, the vehicles are also getting a new muffler, which is not needed, but it's the only way we can get that catalytic converter. And you can see where this front flange here connects to here, where we've already unbolted the piece where they cut. So this right here is the same as here, and you can see where they cut it a little bit better here when you compare it to the new piece. Okay, just for reference, so everybody can see what this costs. So that catalytic converter assembly is going to be right here, and you're just over $1,600 for it. Yeah, so for obvious reasons, with me just showing you the cost of that catalytic converter, we're going to want to go ahead and help you, assuming you have the coverage, get you an insurance claim started. I have other videos on this channel that talk about insurance and how to do it, how to open a claim. The main thing that I want to kind of get on to you in this video, as I've done with so many others, is explain to you really quickly how it works. So if you have comprehensive insurance coverage, first of all, comprehensive claims do not raise your rates. You can check my facts on that by calling and asking your agent. but because of where comprehensive falls under the policy, it's a non-at-fault claim, so it doesn't raise your premiums on your insurance. So if you have the coverage, there's zero reason to not make the claim. Now, the only other reason I would say you wouldn't want to make the claim is if you had some enormous deductible. If you have a $2,000 or $3,000 deductible and the repair costs less than that, of course, it doesn't make sense to make the claim. But almost everybody's got a $500 or less deductible on your comprehensive, so you definitely want to do that. The second thing I will tell you about making a claim on your insurance for a stolen catalytic converter is it is 100% your choice of who does the repair for you. When you call your insurance company and open a claim, they are likely going to try to steer you in the direction of a shop that they have a prearranged agreement with. It's called a DRP, and those are always going to be a body shop. Now, I have nothing against body shops, and most DRPs do go through a vetted program in order to be contracted with an insurance company. So it's not that they're not going to be a good shop, it's that they are not an exhaust shop, and they don't do exhaust repairs. We obviously do only exhaust repairs, and so it's going to be a lot more beneficial to you, speaking to timing, speaking to the way the estimate is written, the communication with the insurance company, is to choose us and or a shop like us that specializes in exhaust repair and understands an insurance claim. Now, of course, if you don't have insurance, you can't make an insurance claim. So if that's the case and you still need help, we're absolutely here 100% to do that for you. We will work with you on getting the best cost to you is around the replacement of your catalytic converter and the necessary items that were stolen with it. We also offer and are partners with a company that does 100 days same as cash, no credit check financing, if that would help you. For those of you that don't have insurance, I just want to cover something around the temptation to looking for a cheaper way to do things. Now, I went online really quickly, didn't spend a whole bunch of effort in finding this converter. This is a Walker catalytic converter, which is a high quality replacement. We actually use a lot of Walker in legal applications. We're a fan of their product. They make a very nice catalytic converter. And when you look it up, it seemingly this would solve our problem. You can look at the picture here, and it looks very similar to the piece we have out there, of course missing the muffler back here on this side. But if you read this paragraph, says requires muffler 55605 to complete installation, yada yada, that sort of thing. But more importantly, if you look at this sentence here, it says not legal for sale or use in the state of California and other California Air Resource Board compliant states. So don't fall into the trap and the temptation of trying to save money by buying parts online like this, because you'll get them, you'll put them on the car and they'll function just fine, but when you go through an emissions test in California and other states that use our rules, you will not get through that smog check. All right, so here you can see the part now off the vehicle, obviously missing the most important part, which is the catalytic converter that goes up there. And let me show you what it looks like replaced on the vehicle. So this is the way it's supposed to look before they would have stolen the catalytic converter. Again, we have the resonator in the back, which didn't get changed, and we start with our new pipe section. It was bolted up here. And we have already instituted our locking bolts here. These are something that we created here at Muffler Tech, and it is exclusive to us. And it requires a key to get these off. That's part of kind of what I'm getting into and help cover what's going to hopefully stop this from getting stolen again. So that's our first line of defense. And as we move down, we get into the new muffler. You can see the sticker there, and then of course the prize piece is here, and that is the new catalytic converter. Back here, I'll show you again those locking bolts that require a key. So all 4 bolts on this assembly now require a key to get those off, which we of course will give to the customer. It works just like a wheel lock, but it works on the cat. Now, the next question is, what's going to stop them from stealing it the same way they did before? And that would be taking a Sawzall and cutting here and cutting here. And I'll show you that as well. So I'm going to show you the inside of a race car we have in the shop right now. This is a Corvette road race car, and what we're looking at, everything that is silver is the roll cage. Roll cages are in just about every form of motorsports in a car, and main thing that it does is protect the driver and the occupants in a crash or rollover of some case. It also stiffens up the chassis and makes the vehicle a little bit less compliant, speaking to its kind of flexing around and rigidity and such. But the main reason I'm showing it to you is to give you an idea of what our solution is. A piece of roll bar tubing is obviously a lot thicker than just a regular piece of pipe that you would use in an exhaust system, because of what it's supposed to do. It's protecting occupants of a vehicle that goes well in the excess of 100 miles an hour. I'm holding a piece in my hand here, and this is a piece of roll bar tubing. It is called DOM, drawn over mandrel, and the thickness of it is a 120 wall, which may not mean a whole bunch to you watching, but the amount of material, the thickness of the material here is what's important. It's also hardened steel, so it's not going to be something that's going to be real soft when you go to cut it with a saw. What we do is we take longer pieces of the roll bar material and we form and weld it to the exhaust system, so that when people go to try to cut through that thin exhaust pipe, they're also going to be cutting through a thick piece of roll bar tubing. All right, and here's the finished product. So what you can see here is, here's our roll bar tubing. It's all cut to fit around the exhaust system. Now, what we talked about earlier in the video, somebody could get a saw in here and cut. Now, it wouldn't get them any access to that converter without doing a bunch of work up there to get it down. But just to kind of put it in and get rid of the temptation, we go ahead and put it all into this area here. So you can see it covers that section there, along with our locking bolts, which we covered earlier. Now, I wanted to show you what the key looks like for that locking bolt. So it works just like a wheel lock, like we talked about. And moving back, you can see, so we have a piece here that covers all this area here where they would get a saw in to cut. Again, they'd have to cut through this thick roll bar to get through the thinner exhaust pipe. Moving back here on the back side, we do angle it. Now, we don't want to weld it to the body of the cat. You can see that where we've angled it here, we have a tack weld, but we're not doing any heavy welding on the cat itself. The welding is all in the pipe as we move down. I'll show you on the other side. But the roll bar runs the length all the way back to the muffler. You can see where we welded there. On this side, you can see our welds there and there. And then a little tack weld here to hold everything on. But let me zoom out here a little bit. And you can see that extra piece of pipe there. You can see it a little bit on this side here and then on the front. And that gives us some pretty good preventative kind of theft measure to keep them from getting under here and sawing it back out. So there you go, guys. That's my video on the stolen cat problem on the RX400Hs. It's just mainly to bring some awareness around this particular model. I want to make sure that everybody understands this is not the only vehicle we are seeing for stolen cats right now. It's just kind of one of the newer ones that has started to become a problem in larger numbers. So I thought the awareness would kind of help, and anybody that has the unfortunate event of this happening to you, this video may kind of clear up some of the things around what you need to do and why they're taking them and yada, all that stuff. So anyway, again, Colby with Muffler Tech and StolenCats.com. We are in Sacramento, California. We'd be happy to help. We offer a lot of preventative theft type measures for all kinds of different types of cars. We specialize in catalytic converter replacement. We know how to deal with insurance companies and negotiate that repair for you. And we do all kinds of other exhaust work as well. So if there's anything we could do to help you here, I appreciate it. And I greatly appreciate you watching. If you're at this point, you've put up with my entire video all the way to the end. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.